Hello and a very good morning and welcome to Rajya Sabha television. You're watching the breakfast news with me, Frank Pereira. First up, a look at the headlines. Industrial production for November shows healthy increase of 3.8%. Demands for a rate cut grow as retail inflation rises less than RBI's targeted limit. Election Commission announces dates for Delhi Assembly elections, voting to be held on the 7th of February, counting of votes 3 days later on the 10th. Ahead of US President Barack Obama's visit to India, Secretary of State John Kerry says defense, nuclear and economic pacts will top his agenda. Charlie Hebdo releases its cover for this week's edition that has an image of Prophet Muhammad on it. The magazine says it will not back down from blasphemy despite the horrific attack last week. And Cristiano Ronaldo wins the Ballon d'Or World Footballer of the Year award for the second year in a row, beats Lionel Messi and Manuel Neuer to the award. Our top focus on the bulletin this morning in data that brought some cheer. IIP for the month of November 2014 showed a rise of 3.8% after having contracted 4.2% in October last year. Retail inflation, however, showed a marginal increase with the consumer price index growing at 5% in December. The figures were released on a day when the 30-share benchmark Sensex also rose about 127 points. Yes, ma'am.
More cheer for the BJP government at the centre. The index of industrial production for November is reported to have grown 3.8% compared to contracting by 4.2% in October. The manufacturing sector, that has a weightage of over 75% in the index, grew at 3%. After it contracted by 7.6% in the previous month, 16 of the 22 industries also showed positive growth. However, on the inflation front, the consumer price index grew by 5% in December, mainly driven by higher food costs. The CPI grew at 4.4% in November. Food inflation edged upwards to 4.78% as opposed to 3.14% in October. Both the CPI and the IIP numbers will now set the tone for the rate expectations from the RBI.
RBI को अब ये देखना है कि हम सैक्रिफाइस करें ग्रोथ को या कंटेन करें इन्फ्लेशन को। कंटेन अगर इन्फ्लेशन को करना है तो मैं समझता हूं कि पिछले 4 वर्ष का जो अनुभव रहा है वो सफल नहीं रहा है, तो इसलिए निश्चित रूप से रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया को इसमें सॉफ्टनिंग धीरे-धीरे करके लानी चाहिए।
So far, despite persistent suggestions from the government and the industry to ease monetary policy, the RBI has kept interest rates unchanged at 8% over the past year. Speaking at the vibrant Gujarat summit in Gujarat on Monday, the finance minister once again indicated the government's resolve to implement decisions it feels are in line with its economic plans.
Obviously, there are a large number of steps the government of India has taken, and therefore the mood in the country and the mood all over the world with regard to investment in India is very positive. I see in days to come investment significantly moving up. And it's going to be a priority area as far as the government is concerned, that expenditure in infrastructure, incentivizing expenditure in manufacturing, these are going to be amongst the key focus areas as far as the government is concerned.
The central bank has set a target of achieving 6% retail inflation by January 2016. Coupled with the hefty cuts in the oil bill, industry watchers feel the latest figures could act as an impetus to enforce an interest rate cut. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, joining me for a chat this morning on this very subject is senior journalist Himanshu Vats. So very good morning, Himanshu, and thank you for joining me on the program. Of course, retail inflation has snapped a 5-month falling trend, and we've seen it grow in December to about 5% as against 4.38% in November. What do these figures really mean?
Well, inflation is basically on the downside, and one of the reasons inflation is looking slightly higher is a statistical base effect. I think the year ago number has done it. The broad trend still remains good for India. prices are under control. Oil prices continue to fall. Even today, Brent crude oil is in the 40s, so which is very good news. And the overall outlook for inflation for at least the next 6 months, 8 months is pretty moderate. So it's broadly good news, and that coupled with the increase in industrial production is a very positive signal.
So, do the figures or what's been happening as far as inflation is concerned, do you think it's going to meet the central bank's target of 6% of keeping inflation at 6% by the year January 2016?
As things stand today, there's a very good chance. There are two things the bank will be watching out for. The first is what are the fiscal deficit numbers when the budget is announced in about a month and a half. And second is the outlook for oil prices. The main cause why inflation has come under control is that the global crude prices have come down, from around $115 a barrel in June to around 48, 49 currently. The general expectation is that crude prices will stay low, at least in the first half of 2015. There is this kind of a price war between the traditional OPEC suppliers and the new shale producers in US. Now, there are some analysts who say that by the end of the year, shale production may slow down. If that happens, oil prices could rise again, and OPEC would want them to rise with a vengeance because they've taken a big hit. So how that plays out, how shale producers respond to the low prices is going to be an important factor in 2016. So broadly, these two things. One is how the fiscal deficit situation looks like, and how the factors on inflation which India cannot control, that is oil price, how they play out in 2016. But there's a very good chance, the broad indicators are that inflation would be within that RBI's target.
Indeed. There has been a lot of pressure on the central bank, to cut repo rates. Do you see that happening anytime soon? We've seen the government also speaking to Rajan, and there has been a lot of pressure from several quarters. But is there going to be a reduction in that?
I think there's a very good chance that this would happen. Again, the only factor that might be weighing on the central bank governor's mind would be how the fiscal deficit shapes out. And even in the last policy meeting, he gave a very clear indication about the direction that things are looking better. And early February, there is a strong chance, and even if Reserve Bank is cautious and again defers it, I'm sure it will give a very clear signal, as it did in the last policy meeting, where it said that this something could be expected even before the next policy announcement. There is a lot of pressure on the central bank to cut rates, but I think overall the central bank has also made it very clear that unless inflation and the fiscal situation is very firmly in control, it's only then where cutting rates would make a significant difference to the investment outlook, to the overall business climate. So there is a good chance, but don't take that for granted.
All right. Thank you so much, Himanshu Vats. We'll have to leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining us on the program and putting things into perspective for us. Moving on now, of course, corporates from India and abroad pledged to invest an astonishing 25 lakh crore rupees and signed 21,000 MOUs at the Vibrant Gujarat Summit. This is more than double the investment amount committed during the last edition of the summit in 2013. The MOUs include more than 1,200 strategic partnerships. The committers not only include Indian companies like Reliance Industries, Adani Group, Aditya Birla Group, Suzlon and Videocon, but also some foreign players like Rio Tinto, Suzuki and CLP Holdings. The proposals also include creation of lakhs of jobs. Earlier, on day 2 of the summit, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley reiterated Prime Minister Narendra Modi's commitment to simplify ways of doing business in India. Jaitley said a highly adversarial tax regime was scaring investors away from the country. He said that the goods and services tax would be implemented across the country in the course of the next year. He termed the Vibrant Gujarat Summit as India's new principal economic summit, drawing sharp criticism from the opposition parties.
We've opened up several areas of investment. Insurance was pending for a long time. In fact, one of the powerful reasons why we came out with an insurance ordinance was that how do we arouse the confidence of investors if India is going to take 10 years to decide what to do with its insurance policy?
Why everything? Xi Jinping's visit to Ahmedabad, bullet train again to Ahmedabad, investment summit again Ahmedabad. So his mindset has not evolved to be the Prime Minister's mindset, though he occupies that chair.
अगर यही इन्वेस्टमेंट बिहार में होता, उत्तर प्रदेश में होता और इस तरह का समिट वहाँ किया जाता तो मैं प्रधानमंत्री को क्रेडिट देता, लेकिन ऐसा लगता है कि हमारे प्रधानमंत्री अभी भी गुजरात से बाहर निकलने को तैयार नहीं है। उनकी प्राथमिकता सिर्फ गुजरात राज्य है।
और निवेश सिर्फ एक राज्य तक ही सीमित नहीं होना चाहिए। मेक इन गुजरात, वाइब्रेंट गुजरात की जगह वाइब्रेंट भारत पर ज्यादा ध्यान देना चाहिए।
Moving on now, Election Commission announced February 7th as the date for Delhi to elect a new assembly. The result of the election will be announced on February 10th. The election is taking place after almost a year since Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal decided to quit after 49 days in power last year.
Date of poll, the 7th February, Saturday. Date of counting, 10th February, Tuesday. Date before which election shall be completed, that is completion of election process, is 12th February.
The dates are set and the parties are ready for yet another electoral battle in the national capital, almost a year after the AAP Congress government stepped down. The Delhi Assembly was dissolved in November last year after Aam Aadmi Party, BJP and Congress said they were not in a position to form a government. Announcing the dates for the Assembly polls, the Election Commission said the Model Code of Conduct is enforced with immediate effect. The poll panel took steps to curb bogus voting. Both Aam Aadmi Party and Congress had raised the issue of discrepancies in the electoral roll with the poll panel.
The electoral roll, which has been finally published on 5th January 2015, has a total of 1.30 crore electors. Photo electoral rolls will be used for the conduct of the election.
Close to 1.30 crore voters are expected to turn up to elect the new government. The poll panel met in Delhi on Monday to finalize the entire schedule of the election process. It said that necessary arrangements have been made for a free and fair poll in the national capital. The last assembly polls in the capital threw up a fractured mandate. The polls held in December 2013 saw BJP emerge as the single largest party with 32 seats. It fell short by a few seats of a majority and had declined an invitation to form the government. Aam Aadmi Party, which made a spectacular electoral debut by winning 27 seats, formed government with the outside support of Congress. Arvind Kejriwal became the youngest chief minister of the capital. After a 15-year rule in the national capital, Congress was reduced to a humiliating 8 seats in the 70-member assembly. While Aam Aadmi Party, which ran the government for 49 days, is once again trying to woo the voters with Kejriwal as its face, the two national parties, BJP and Congress, is still grappling with selection of candidates for Delhi elections. With camera person DK Pandey, Vishal Daya, Rajya Sabha TV, Delhi.
Meanwhile, the Congress is hoping to make an impact this time after a drubbing in the 2013 Assembly polls in Delhi. The party is likely to pick former Union Minister Rajya to head its campaign committee for the polls. The party is also exploring the possibility of fielding the former MP from a key Assembly constituency in Delhi. Congress remains confident to exploit the AAP's failure to provide a stable government in the national capital while ruling out giving support to the party again if required. AAP feels it's going to be a straight contest between them and the BJP. Aiming a clean majority this time, BJP sounded hopeful to edge out AAP in Delhi.
कांग्रेस पूरी मजबूती के साथ चुनाव लड़ेगी. We are not going to support Aam Aadmi Party ever. And it is a very categorical statement the Congress Party is saying.
पार्टी जो भी जिम्मेवारी मुझे देगी उसको सहर्ष मैं स्वीकार करूंगा और उसके ऊपर हम लोग काम करेंगे. और ये वो समय है जिसमें हमको दिल्ली के लोगों के बीच में जाकर के कांग्रेस के लोगों को ये बताना है कि हमारे पास ऐसी टीम है लोगों की जो लोगों ने ईमानदारी के साथ में काम किया है और अनुभव है काम करने का.
जो नरेंद्र मोदी की रैली थी उससे बिल्कुल स्पष्ट है. 1 लाख की घोषणा की बात कर रहे थे और वहां 10,000 लोग भी इकट्ठा नहीं हुए. जिन मुद्दों में चर्चा करनी चाहिए दिल्ली को लेकर डेवलपमेंट का एजेंडा है उसके बारे में बातचीत नहीं की उन्होंने. वो क्या बात कर रहे हैं? अरविंद केजरीवाल को सिर्फ गालियां दे.
कि बहुत दिनों से दिल्ली की जनता एक स्थिर एक स्थायी सरकार की अपेक्षा कर रही है और बहुत दिनों से बहुत सारे कारण ऐसे रहे कि दिल्ली की जनता को स्टेबल सरकार मिल नहीं पाई है. इस बार भारतीय जनता पार्टी कॉन्फिडेंट है कि हम जीतेंगे और हम अपने दम पर सरकार बनाएंगे.
Moving on, now US Secretary of State John Kerry pushed for stronger ties with India ahead of President Barack Obama's visit to India later this month. He emphasized that US was committed to work with India to work out a key deal on global climate change. A list of defense agreements, civil nuclear agreement and the economic partnership would be on the top of the agenda during Obama's visit to New Delhi.
On day 2 of the vibrant Gujarat summit, US Secretary of State John Kerry outlined President Barack Obama's agenda during his visit to India this month. Obama will be the first US president to be the chief guest at the Republic Day celebrations. Several key deals are expected to be signed by the two nations. With an aim to push for stronger ties, the two countries are likely to sign deals on defense, civil nuclear program and economic partnership. Focus will also be on safeguarding of maritime security and India's partnership in combating global terrorism.
I know this will be a topic of President Obama's conversation with the Prime Minister and a focus of the conversations that will take place, as well as the defense agreement, as well as the civil nuclear agreement, as well as the economic partnership. So those are 4 very specific areas where we know we want to try to make some progress.
Kerry also said that he had discussions with Prime Minister Modi as President Obama is visiting India. He said that United States can do a great deal of work together to achieve Modi's ambitious plan of providing electricity to all homes in India.
For both India and the United States, investing in each other's success is frankly in both of our interests. It is really a smart strategic bet for both countries.
United States is also hopeful to work closely with India to reach a landmark climate change agreement in Paris at the end of this year. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, it's time for a short break now, but still to come on the program. Ending a 4-month standoff, Jadavpur University Vice Chancellor has decided to resign. Details after this short break. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha Television. Well, Goa Sports and Youth Affairs Minister Ramesh Tawardkar has said that the state government will set up centres where people from the LGBT community can be cured and turned normal. He made the statement while addressing the media after launching the state government's youth policy. The policy lists LGBT community among the stigmatized group which needs focused attention. The Goa minister's remark has been slammed by several quarters. It came on a day when UN General Secretary Ban Ki-moon called for equality towards all members of society regardless of their sexual orientation during his India visit.
उनको नॉर्मल बनाने वाले वैसे इज दैट समथिंग लाइक दैट
या उसका भी सेंटर हम बनाना चाहते हैं. सेंटर फॉर अल्कोहल एनोनिमस के यानी उसका यूथ को.
नो आई एम सेइंग एलजीबीटी लेस्बियन गे बाइसेक्सुअल ट्रांससेक्सुअल basically it mentions that LGBTs are a specific target group.
या
तो what exactly do you mean by that?
इसमें तो हमने पूरे जो टारगेट ग्रुप में हर तरह के यानी जो पॉइंट्स डिटेल इसमें आपको पॉलिसी मिल जाएगी. इसका पूरा हमने जो पिछले 2 साल से हमने जो विचार किए इसमें सब पूरा इस पर पॉलिसी में पूरा डिटेल आपको मिल जाएगा.
We have to fight for the equality of all members of our human family regardless of any difference, including sexual orientation.
Goa sports minister is saying this. It's really funny, and really it is a slap on every movement, every progressive movement that's happening in the country right now, that it's like taking 100 steps back.
Well, it's unfortunate, and a minister of the government of Goa should make such a reprehensible statement. LGBT people are completely normal people. They are not diseased. They don't need any rehabilitation. They don't need any medicine to correct themselves. They are as normal as anybody else, as heterosexuals.
Well, let's take a look now at the other making news stories from across the nation in our segment Nationwide. BJP issued a show-cause notice to its MP Sakshi Maharaj yesterday. He has been asked for a reply in 10 days over his remark asking Hindus to have 4 kids. Earlier, BJP had distanced itself from the remark and urged its workers and public representatives to refrain from making such comments. Party chief Amit Shah had said that it was Sakshi Maharaj's personal view. In a major breakthrough in the 4-month-long impasse between Jadavpur University Vice-Chancellor Abhijit Chakrabarti and the students, the VC has decided to resign. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee made the announcement on Monday. 15 students had been on a hunger strike on campus since January 5th, demanding the VC's resignation for ordering a police crackdown on the students in September last year. The Supreme Court has sought an explanation from the Gujarat government for its alleged failure to provide requisite information to the CBI relating to 2 coal block allocations. A bench headed by Justice M.B. Lokur also asked the agency to take up the case and follow up with the state government on the issue. The bench referred to its order of December 9th and noted that the CBI wanted documents from the Gujarat government which were not furnished. Voting rights for NRIs will soon be a reality. The Supreme Court has asked the Centre and the Election Commission to take specific steps to ensure that NRIs can also cast their votes. The Centre informed the Supreme Court that it has accepted in letter and spirit the Election Commission's suggestion to extend voting rights to NRIs through postal ballots. The Apex Court has given the Centre 4 weeks to inform what steps had been put in place. The national capital today woke up to temperatures of 5 degrees Celsius and dense fog in some areas. The situation is unlikely to improve in the coming days, with the Met Department forecasting heavy rain and snowfall in Himachal Pradesh in the coming days. The mercury stayed 12 to 20 degrees below the freezing point in high-altitude tribal areas yesterday, while Keelong and Lahore and Spiti recorded a low of -6 degrees. Moving on to some international news now. This week's issue of Charlie Hebdo will include images of the Prophet Muhammad, as the satirical newspaper says it will not back down from blasphemy despite the horrific attack last week that killed 10 of its staffers. The front page of the Wednesday edition will be released tonight. The lawyer for the magazine justified the decision, saying that they would not give in because the spirit of I Am Charlie means the right to blasphemy. The cover shows the Prophet Muhammad holding a sign saying I am Charlie with the words all is forgiven above it on a green background. The issue will be printed in 16 languages for readers around the world, with 3 million copies being printed. The journal usually has a print run of 60,000 copies. Meanwhile, of course, France has announced an unprecedented deployment of thousands of troops and police to bolster security. The move came a day after a solidarity march that drew nearly 4 million people around the globe, including 40 world leaders. A state of maximum alert remains in place. Here's more.
A mournful Paris after Sunday's massive demonstration against terror attracted people and politicians from across political divides in a rare display of unity. In the aftermath of a blood-soaked week of terror, the French government pledged to keep up a hunt for terrorists and their accomplices across the country, announcing the biggest deployment ever on France's own soil.
Une véritable opération intérieure. Il y a les opérations extérieures qui se poursuivent et c'est une opération intérieure qui va mobiliser 10 000 hommes, c'est-à-dire à peu près autant que ce que mobilisent aujourd'hui nos opérations extérieures.
French police released videos of their operations around 2 sieges on Friday after the attacks by Islamist militants, pictures of the prelude to the raid and footage of hostages released. Britain held emergency meetings on Monday on the need for special measures to take on a Paris-like attack. Nations around the world have come forward in a never-before show of solidarity with France.
People of France have any doubt about America's understanding of what happened, about our personal sense of loss, and our deep commitment to the people of France in this moment of trial.
Since the terror attacks began in Paris on Wednesday, the terrorists murdered 17 people, 10 at Charlie Hebdo magazine, 4 at the supermarket and 3 police officers. The attacks go down as yet another dark chapter of global terror. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
In some more international news now, in an embarrassment for the United States, the Twitter and YouTube accounts of the US military command were hacked by a group claiming to be or to back the Islamic State. The accounts had to be suspended for a few hours. While the US military said it was not a serious data breach, the White House has pledged to look into the hacking seriously.
The Twitter and YouTube accounts of the US military in the Middle East and South Asia were hacked by supporters of Islamic State militants on Monday. At CENTCOM, the account used by the US Central Command tweeted out messages threatening attacks on US military personnel and expressing sympathy for the Islamic State. Nearly simultaneously, the Central Command's YouTube channel hosted 2 pro-IS videos. However, other websites and social media accounts of the US military remained unaffected.
I can tell you this is something that we're obviously looking into and something that we take seriously. There's a pretty significant difference between what is a large data breach and the hacking of a Twitter account. So we're still examining and investigating the extent of this incident.
Embarrassingly for the United States, the hack came at a time when President Barack Obama was giving a speech in Washington on the issue of cybersecurity.
We're introducing new legislation to create a single, strong national standard so Americans know when their information has been stolen or misused.
Other messages on the hacked Twitter account from the group that called itself Cyber Caliphate implied that the hackers had captured military secrets. But the documents that were released reportedly contained only widely available and non-official information. Central Command, one of the US military's 5 regional commands, has been conducting nearly daily airstrikes against the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria since August last year. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Over to some sports news now. Real Madrid and Portugal forward Cristiano Ronaldo has won the FIFA Ballon d'Or World Footballer of the Year award for 2014. Ronaldo successfully defended his World Player of the Year status, convincingly getting 37.66% of all votes, winning the award for a 3rd time. Wolfsburg and Germany midfielder Nadine Kessler was named Women's Player of the Year, while Colombia's James Rodriguez won the Goal of the Year award.
I'm not sure about nothing. I was hope that I have good chance, but the beginning when they mentioned the name, the heart started to beat fast and adrenaline. It's a hard moment, to be honest. But I think I deserve. Neuer deserved too, and Messi. But last year I deserve more. So I'm really pleased.
Well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the Bulletin. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day.